Welcome back to class. Let's go ahead and bow in, trip, bow, kunye, and let's train. So let's start bouncing. Let's get into this kind of sparring stance, and I want you to kind of go up and down with the bounce, just nice and warm. Arms are relaxed, just kind of floating around. You can kind of pump them up and down right now if you'd like. I just want everything moving and getting loose. Here, I want you to bounce forward and bounce back. All right, so I'm loading up that front leg, loading up that back leg. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm still kind of laid it off, kind of in the sparring stance here, and I'm moving forward and I'm moving backwards. Just small little steps. I'm only moving about 6 to 8 inches each time. Switch legs, same thing. Now we're gonna stand in this more squared stance. We're gonna go side to side. So notice I'm kind of hopping from one leg, hopping to the other leg. Boom, boom. Nice and relaxed. My arms are kind of like I'm running. Just go one side, other side, one side, other side. Let's get back to our sparring stance, and let's do switches. When I say switch, I want you to switch. Switch, switch. You can kind of move still with that forward and backward. You can bounce up and down. Switch, change levels. Switch, 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 switch. Switch, 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 switch. Keep going. And so I can keep doing that motion. In and out, switch. Warming those legs up. Switch, 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 switch. Switch. Take a breath. And 10 squats. Ready? Go. 1, 2, keep your heels down on the ground. 3, feet about shoulder width apart. 4, chest up. 5, 6, press through your heels. 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's do 10 push-ups. And begin. 1, 2, head up. 3, 4, don't go like this, butt down. 5, 6, 7, 8, breathe out on the way up. 9, 10. Okay, let's go ahead and do a standing quad stretch, just like this. Take a few deep breaths. And other side. Try to keep balance. All right, let's go ahead and spread the legs out some. We're gonna keep our foot down as we do this one. Stretch that, go for this kind of socket stretch. And to the other side. As I'm moving into the stretch, not overly holding. A lot of time I will hold that quad stretch, that standing quad stretch that we did. But for these ones, I typically want to have this little bounce into it, as long as it's nice and slow. Now let's go from one side to the other side. Remember, we're not overly trying to push ourselves with our stretching at the beginning of class, especially if it's the same temperature for you that it is in here for me. I don't recommend it. All right, let's go ahead and let's drop down a knee, do our kneeling hip stretch. ahead and do the same thing onto the other side. Drop that knee down, push that hip forward, and come back. Hip forward and back. Okay, we're gonna go back to that first side, and now we're gonna change it up just a little bit. So we're still gonna do basically the same stretch. We're gonna go forward, but then I want you to come all the way back, straighten this back knee out, lean forward. So you're gonna get this hip flex, or this hip flexor stretch on that kneeling hip stretch, and come back, and we're gonna get this hamstring stretch here. And see, I'm not rushing, I'm not going too fast. Nice, slow, dynamic stretch. And let's do one more back. And we'll go ahead and switch again. Get that hip stretch in. Come back, straighten that front knee up fully, lean forward towards it. Notice I'm dropping that knee down. I'm on the ball of my foot, my back one. My knee is pointed forward, same as my front foot. And back. Forward and back. Don't hold your breath as you're doing this. Take nice, slow, deep breaths. Exhale as you reach down. Inhale as you come up. Exhale as you go for that stretch. Inhale as I go back. Exhale as I go down. All right, now we're gonna go here. We're going to drop down, and we're gonna be alternating. This time I want that heel on the ground, and I want your knees to point outwards as much as you can. Point those knees outward. You need to bring that arm in to keep it from pointing inwards, right? You can put this arm here as that block and keep it pointed outwards. Hands can switch places. I'll have one hand in the middle, one hand towards the bit knee, just like this. All right, let's go ahead and let's do some hip openers. Closers. Keep it going. And take a deep breath in. That's good. Let's get into a fighting stance. Hands are going to be up. All right, remember we're not all the way back. In this sort of stance, we're a little bit more square, but not completely. But you should be able to see the knot in my belt is almost pointed to the front. You can see both my feet instead of one foot hiding behind the other. Hands are up, and we're gonna jab, cross. So jab, followed by a cross. When you're doing that cross, I want you to make sure that you're raising that back leg up. We're getting triple extension by extending with our glute, our quad, and our calf to press off of the ground. Our other hand comes right back to our face. Ready? We're gonna do 20 of these. My count. 1, jab, cross. Hands to the face. 2, jab, cross. Shoulder up on that cross. 3, 1, 2. 4, 1, 2. 5. Just so you know, a 1 is a jab, a 2 is a cross. 6, 1, 2. 7, 1, 2. 8, 1, 2. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Take a breath in. Now, let's switch sides. Same thing, jab cross. Now we switched our lead. Jab is still that front hand. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Other hands at the face, protecting. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Breathe in and out. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna do our half roundhouse kick. So we're gonna do 2 sets of 10 on each side. Ready? So this time, let's go ahead and get to that sparring stance. More bladed off here. 1, knee, and bring it all the way back. Try to get 180 degrees, but it's gotta go more than 90. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides. Same thing. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides. Same thing, 10 more on each side. Okay, so now with this one, if you're feeling comfortable with it, I want you to be moving, right? So with your sparring stance, right, just moving around a little bit, and then when I call it out, kick, bring it back. Move around, change your angles. Now when you're doing this, if you're not looking at the screen, I want you to pick something on your wall, and I want you to aim at that, okay? So we're not just throwing it out there with no intention. I want you to pick something, right? So I see something, maybe I see my camera. Boom, I want to try to get my knee going through that. Obviously I can only kick so high with my knee, so it's got to be a little bit lower than if I was fully extending this kick. But I want you to have a target that you're aiming at. Ready? Move around if you can. If not, just stay still, it's fine. Work on your pivot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you can, bring it all the way back behind you. Try not to set it down in front just yet. 10. Sometimes though, you fall forward, it's okay. Switch sides. Same thing. 1, 2, 3. Even if your movement is just this, right? Just this bouncing motion. That's fine too. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe in and out. Okay, we're gonna move on to our next kick. Our next kick is going to be a front kick. So with this front kick, we're gonna change it up from how we did in the previous classes. Now we're gonna kick with the ball of the foot. So what does it mean? I'm gonna show you low so you can probably see in the black, but I'm gonna pull my toes back like this. Instead of pointing them down and out, I wanna pull them back. So if I decide to kick something, I'm able to kick something that is much more squared with me and drive in. So this is where we'd be aiming here. We're kicking with the ball of the foot. Notice how my ankle is straight. I'm not bending, right? I don't have this flexed ankle here. I have an extended ankle, but I'm pulling my toes backwards so that I can kick. Now, as I'm raising my foot up for this kick, I want you to have a flexed ankle that extends into a straight ankle. So what does that mean? I'm here, I'm bringing my knee up, look at my ankle, see how it's bent, it's flexed, and then as I extend out at the knee, my ankle also straightens out, and then I make contact. So now my ankle is straight, okay? I'm here, flexed ankle. As I extend it out, I straighten that ankle to be able to make contact. So typically with this, you're gonna be making contact in the torso area. You can kick up to the face with this, right? You can kick with the ball of the foot going into the face. If you want to see a good knockout with that, you can watch Anderson Silva versus Beto Belfort. I messed up on his name. Anderson Silva, front kick, you'll see the knockout. But it's a really good one. And same thing, kicked with the ball of the foot, but aiming towards the face. This is a bigger target. It's going to be a lot easier to hit, and it's very uncomfortable for your opponent to just sit here and eat these kicks, right? They don't want to do it. It's painful, okay? So if you have something that you can kick on, this would be a good time to go ahead and pull that out. It helps to kind of feel that toes back, because you'll know very quickly if you hit with your toes pointing into it. So you wanna make sure that you hit with the ball of that foot. If you don't have something, that's fine. You can kick in the air, just try to be mindful of what you are doing. Ready? The back leg, we're gonna be in more of a fighting stance this time. Bring the knee up, ankles flexed, extend out, set it down, and bring back. Now the reason I'm setting it down in front is because if I'm actually kicking something, boom, I'm gonna have too much forward momentum to really be able to stop. I can kick in the air, right, like that and bring it back, but if I'm really trying to kick somebody, I'm not gonna be able to bring it back easily unless I make contact. Sometimes if you make contact, it's easy to come back because the force of their body will push back into your foot, making it easier to come back. But if you miss, you're gonna go forward. Okay, ready? So you can choose between those two. Practice both, I guess. And 2 sets of 10 on each leg. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Now, should point it out a little bit earlier, but if you notice, my foot is pivoting. My base foot is pivoting that 30 to 45 degrees, which will allow my hip to point more forward. If my toes are completely to the front, my hip gets limited in how much it can go forward, right? It's weird to twist it this way. So I go here, and it can push that hip to the front, give you a little bit of extra reach, a little bit of extra power in this. Go ahead and switch your legs. We're gonna do the same thing with our other leg. Hands are up, and front kick. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. hands, I want you to start here, but you can do that. Turn the steering wheel for this one as well. 9, 10. Breathe in, and out, and switch legs. Same thing. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe in, out, switch legs, same thing. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe in and out. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our half roundhouse kicks. This time what we're gonna do is we're going to end with a switch. So I'm in here, my sparring stance. I'm going to kick this half roundhouse kick. I'm going to bring it back, and then I'm gonna switch my legs, and that's 1. Then I'm gonna continue doing that. We're gonna do 40 total, okay? So it's gonna be 20 on each side, switching after every single one. Ready? 1, bring it back, switch. 2, back, switch. Nice and light, feel it pivot. 3, back, switch. 4, back, switch. 5, 6, don't have to go too fast here. 7. Now, I'm doing a cheat switch. So let me show you what that is real quick. When I kick and I bring this back, notice how my hips are kind of staying towards the front instead of bringing it all the way back and having this full switch. Because I'm already mostly switched, I can just switch my legs. As soon as that hits the ground, I use it to help propel my switch of my leg, but my upper body was already mostly switched. So it's kind of a cheat switch. All right, let's continue. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I know, I picked it up a little bit. 15, 16, 17. I still want your hips to be facing the back leg before you do the kick. 18. All right, bring it off to that side. 19. 20. Oh, 21. 22. 23. 24. Try to bounce a little bit, move, stay nice and loose. 25. 26. 27. Exhale on each one of these. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32. All right, for these last 8, I'm gonna have you do something slightly different. We're gonna kick here, and then this knee is gonna come down, and I'm gonna replace my foot backwards. Here, this foot is gonna land where this foot is, and that one replaces backwards. So I'm getting my switch immediately. So we're gonna do that for this last 8. Ready? 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Breathe in and out. Take a few breaths. Let me get my friend Bob over here ready. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to do the same type of front kick, kicking with the ball of the foot, except for we're gonna kick with the front leg. So I wanna be at a distance where I can basically touch him, all right, with a jab. Maybe I'm just too far, but if I was to lean, I could get him. That would be a pretty good distance, okay? Now, when you're doing a front leg, front kick, there's something that I want you to focus with on the back leg. I want your back leg to be behind your hips. So if you look at me from the side, you can see that my hips are in front of that back leg. But now when I'm doing this, I'm kicking and I want that hip to be in front of it. So you can see right here. If I do something like this, and this is really common and most people do it, and it's okay to do it sometimes, but if you're ever kicking with somebody that's bigger than you or somebody that's in a sturdy stance, it doesn't work. If you're doing this while one of their legs is in the air, it'll probably work, okay? If I step here and look at my base leg is directly underneath my hips, it's centered under my hips, and then I raise this up and kick, my balance is all right here, but if I put too much pressure here and they don't go moving back, then I go moving back, right? So I want the back leg to be kind of this wedge into the ground so that I kick, right? And the force is coming in and it's going that way instead of my hips being past it where I fall backwards. So if you ever did a front kick and you hit somebody and you moved backwards, it's because you didn't have your hips and your weight in front of your base leg, okay? Even then, if they're really big, they can still move you, but that'll help significantly for this. So just avoid doing this. Whenever you're doing this kick, if you don't hit a target, your weight should have you falling forward, right? You shouldn't be able to hold it up. If you can hold it up, boom, here, that means your leg is directly under you, and if you were to actually use force, you would have been pushed back. So just be aware that front leg, front kick, you should be falling forward, okay? So we're gonna stand here, find our distance. All right, that's a good distance for me. Here's too far, I would have to do a step. Can't reach them. So find your distance. If you have a bag, use the bag. If you don't have a bag, kick in the air. Make sure that you would be falling forward there. My count, 2 sets of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch legs, same thing. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch again. We're in this fighting stance here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale on each one of these. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe in and out, in and out. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly recap what we went over today. So we started off with our warm up, and then we went into our jab, followed by our cross, making sure that we get that triple extension of the back leg pressing from the ground, and making sure that our other hand was constantly at our face. After that, we just practiced our half roundhouse kick, trying to get that pivot as much as we can. It's gotta be over 90, but the goal is 180. From there, we did our front kicks, and this time we were kicking with the ball of the foot instead of pointing our toes and kicking with the instep, okay? After that, we went back to our half roundhouse kicks. We went half roundhouse kick, brought it back and did a little cheat switch and switched to the other side. We did 40 of those. And then we worked on our front leg, front kick, making sure that we had our base leg slightly behind our hips. That way we don't kick and end up pushing ourselves back, but we have that wedge into the ground so that we can kick and fall forward and not worry about falling backwards. So hopefully you enjoyed today's class. Let's go ahead and let's stretch it out. So let's start here. Let's go with our sumo splits. This is one of my favorite ones. Remember, with the sumo splits, you need to figure out how to relax your hips. So my knees would kind of want to come in. I'm keeping my elbows out to point my knees outwards, and I'm relaxing my hips, and that's where the stretch comes. Because gravity's pulling me down, but the alignment of my hips, my muscles are keeping them tight so that I don't fall all the way to the ground. It also takes some balance if you want to learn to get your toes pointed all the way towards the outside. You don't have to go all the way out. You can angle them slightly forward for a little bit better base, but I don't want them pointed here. Right at this point, I'm not quite getting that same stretch. I want that opening, hip opening stretch. Okay, let's do the same thing, but now I'm gonna rock from one side to the other. I'm still using my forearms to put outward pressure on my knees so that they don't collapse in. Go to one side and the other. Now this might take a little bit of calf flexibility that some people just might not have, and we can work on getting a little bit of that stretch into the calves. This isn't the best way to stretch the calves, but it is a way. For me, I use this mostly on the hips. All right, now that we've got our hips already opened up nice and wide, let's go ahead and let's go down into our splits. I told you guys I wanna get my splits back. By the time we start reaching the black belt material, I'm gonna have my splits back for sure. So I'm having my toes here, they're not pointed directly towards the sky. Shift this way. My toes aren't pointed directly towards the sky. I'm having them point about 45 degrees forward and up. Okay, let's go ahead and come up here and here. Let's try to get that good punching fist so we can go on those big two knuckles. You know, so pick a side. Front toes all the way up to the front, back toes straight down, back knees straight, don't let it bend. You know, this used to be my best side, and I could easily go down into the splits. I tore my hamstring a few years back at a tournament, and kind of stopped doing the splits this way afterwards. So that's one of the reasons why I can't do full splits anymore. But it's in the past, it's healed, and we're gonna fix that now. All right. Now let's go ahead and we're gonna switch to that other side. This was always my bad side. So hold it, feel the muscles start to relax. Come up. Now, we're gonna do a different type of splits that we haven't done yet. I honestly never train these types of splits, so but I was thinking about it, I probably should. So let's go ahead and let's start working on it. So you'll see that I am nowhere near as good as I could be, but it's okay. So we're gonna do the front splits. So we're gonna start off with a back knee on the ground, and this time we're going to have our shoelaces, right, where our shoelaces would be, and we're going to just try to slide on down into this. So this is a pretty good one for your hamstrings of the front leg and that hip flexor of the back leg. Again, not one that I work frequently, but let's try to add this one in here, and maybe I'll get better at it. Maybe I'll fall in love with it. We'll find out. Remember, this should not be painful. You should not be in pain. You should be uncomfortable, but you should not be in pain. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. And let's come up. Let's switch sides. We're gonna drop that knee down. Point that toe towards the front. Shoelaces of the back leg pointed down to the ground. Let's try to keep this as straight as I can. You know, I thought this side would be a little bit better than the other side. It doesn't feel like it is. It really doesn't. Let's get that good knuckles again. Strong fists. Keep it going. Nice deep breaths. Try to relax here as much as you can. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's bring it in. Let's get another hamstring stretch in here. Let's put both of our feet forward. Straighten up our back. Nice and tall. Pinch your shoulder blades together and reach. Okay. Remember, I want you to think about pinching the shoulder blades. I want you to think about keeping your back straight. Notice I can't touch my toes. If I decide to bend my back, yeah, I can touch my toes. But that's not the goal of this. The goal of this is hamstrings. So I can finger walk forward. I could clump up the front of my pants. I could pull myself forward, still pinching my back muscles together so that my back stays straight. Okay, from here, let's go ahead and just earthquake our knees. Up and down, get a little blood flowing back to that leg. All right, left hand up, protect your face. Left foot, knee bend, plants that foot. Right hand back behind you. Lift your hips up, lift that leg up, bring it back behind you. Arm is still up, protecting your face. And let's stand up. Now let's shake it out one more time. And let's bow out of class. Cheery up, bow, good. Great job on the class. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and comment what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, and how those front splits going for you. Maybe you did better than I did. Have a great day, you guys.